Hello boys and girls, today we're going to be reviewing volume. Now we already talked a little bit about volume in our last lesson, but today we're going to be taking down the notes that we need in our journal, that we can always refer back to them. And remember boys and girls, that volume are the units needed to fill up a shape. The units that are used are cubic units. Make sure you remember how I told you to draw your three-dimensional figures. And we want to know how many of those cubic units fit inside of our three-dimensional shape, and that's how we measure volume. We're going to be working mostly with two formulas, boys and girls. The first one is one of the most common. Volume equals length times width times height, where they give you a three-dimensional figure such as this one. And they tell you to find the volume. And let's just say that this right here is 2 inches. This right here is 3 inches. And the height is 4 inches. Go ahead and apply this formula, boys and girls, and find the volume. Pause the video and find the volume. The correct answer, boys and girls, is 24 inches cubed. Let me go ahead and give you another example. Okay, and this figure measures 10 centimeters in length, 3 centimeters in width, and in height, 4 centimeters. Go ahead and apply the volume formula, length times width times height, to find the volume of this shape. Go ahead and pause the video and figure that out, boys and girls. You should have gotten 120 centimeters cubed. Now, remember, boys and girls, that the way you multiply the numbers, the order doesn't matter. Just make sure that all three numbers get multiplied, such as here I started with the 10 and I multiplied it times the 3 and got 30. And then I multiplied the 30, which is the answer, the product, multiplied it times 4, which gives me 120. Now, if you would have multiplied 4 times 10 and then times the 3, you would have still gotten the same answer. Let's go ahead and do one more practicing this formula. This shape right here is a cube. And it measures 4 units wide. Go ahead and calculate the volume. Pause the video and calculate the volume using the formula. Now, knowing that this shape is a cube, boys and girls, you should know that if it's 4 units long, it's going to be 4 units wide, and it's also going to be 4 units high. Therefore, I'm going to take the 4 multiply it times the 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then that 16, I'm also going to multiply times 4. 24, 4, 5, 6. 64. And because they didn't give us anything, units, squared. They didn't give us inches, feet, or anything like that. Okay, now let's move on to the next formula. The next formula has to do with layers. Volume equals the area of the first layer, which is the base, multiplied times the number of layers, which is a height. Let's go ahead and draw a rectangular prism, but we're going to do a see-through one. Do a little dot in the middle. And then connect the vertices. The area of the base right here let's just say it's 24. And the height is 7. And all of that is in inches. Remember that here, they did part of the work for us. The area of the base is the length times the width. They already did that for us. So all you have to do is multiply times the height. Go ahead and pause the video and solve this problem, boys and girls. Okay. You should have gotten as your answer 168 inches cubed. And remember, all you did was multiply the area of the base, the bottom, times the height. That would be the formula for calculating this type of volume problem. Let's go ahead and do another one. Okay, so there's our shape. And they're going to give us the area of the base, which is this bottom section. And the area of the base for this shape is 32 centimeters squared. And the height, the number of layers that it has, let's just say it's 8 layers. What is the volume for this shape? Go ahead and pause the video and calculate the volume. For this problem, you should have gotten 256 centimeters cubed. Now, boys and girls, remember that volume are the units that are needed to fill the shape. To measure the units, we use these little cubes, which would be one of these. That would be a cubic unit. And we want to know how many of these fill up a shape. So for example, for this one, 24 of these would have filled up this box. For this one, 120 of these would have filled up the box. For this one, 64 of these would have filled up the box. For this one, 156 would have filled up, so we would have needed 156 of these. And for this one, we would have needed 168. So volume is measured in cubic units. And we mostly work with two formulas. The first one, and this is the most common, and this is the one that you really need to remember the most, is length times width times height, where we take the length, the width, the height, and we multiply them to figure out the volume. And the second formula is base times height, where they already give us the length times the width. They do that part for us, And then all we have to do now is multiply it times the height.